Hey, how y'all doing? This message is out to 50 Cent. I just wanted to commend you on a wonderful piece of work you've been doing at the movies. I know you've been following a lot of your work from Cheetah Vision, and just wanted to give you all the props in the world, both in the music industry and as an entrepreneur, and as pretty much an artist or anything else that you want to put in the mix. But you're an all-rounder, so I don't know if I can really necessarily categorize you in one particular fashion. But there is something that I wanted to say to you, though, in reference to all the things that's been going on out here, as far as in the movie industry as well. Right now, you got a lot of people in the movie industry that are just pretty much putting out garbage. They're putting out trash, 50, on the real. And I think who knows that better than someone like you? You're a visionary. You have a foresight for things like this. And like I said, I give all props and accolades to you, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now that just doesn't make any sense. You know, you got a lot of people in Hollywood that are paper pushers or pencil pushers that think that they're coming out with all these great and wonderful movies, but box office is not doing anything because there's no originality, there's no innovation, there's nothing. It's just them pretty much listening to maybe their 5-year-old daughter that puts out a screenplay or some kind of material, and they say, hey, you know what, this is great, let's do this. You know, they bring it out to the forefront, they bring it out to the production companies, and they make a movie out of it. Majority of the time it flops. But I think what you need, 50, is someone on your team that comes out with something that's original, something innovative, something that captures the mind of the youth, because that's what you're all about. I mean, you're about the kids. You know, you're about the inner city because you grew up you grew up in that kind of environment, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, basically, make a long story short, what I'm trying to say is, I'm sure, being the type of person you are, you always have your eyes open and your ears on the streets. I'm sure you've seen the new movie, Waiting for Superman. It's an in-depth documentary that gives an indication of how all the inner city children versus the middle-class suburban kids pretty much way up against each other as far as test scores and as far as goals and achievements and things like that. And obviously, I don't need to tell you, inner city always comes out to be one that's basically at the bottom of the barrel. So that movie was inspirational. It was a good movie by Jeffrey Canada and David Guggenheim. They did a wonderful job on expressing some of the things and some of the issues that happens in the inner city. But I also believe at the same time that they didn't go into depth about the real inner city. And you know this probably better than anyone. I grew up in the inner city myself. I grew up in D.C. back in the '80s when, you know, they had the city under siege, when D.C. was the murder capital of the world. I mean, crack was back with an attack kind of thing, you know. But I knew all the things that I went through back then, and most of the stuff that I went through, you know, you didn't necessarily worry about who was doing what as far as school education or anything of that nature. We were mostly concerned about shoes. We were mostly concerned about clothes. Most concerned about females, you know. And this is the persona of the majority of people in the inner city. And I think the movie Waiting for Superman, it didn't really go in depth into the inner city. It just pretty much told one side of the story about families that were together, about people, the families that were pretty much for their kids' education. They looked out for their kids, and at the same time, the children, they were probably between 7 and 12 that were in the movie. They also were tuned into the educational environment and wanted to better themselves. But between me and you, we both know in the city, the other side of the story, on the other side of the street, they don't care. All they care about is hip hop, gang banging, and doing all sorts of stuff that they're not necessarily supposed to do. But what motivates and what keeps them inspired is the hip hop culture, is the hip hop world. They want to be the next Magic Johnson, the next Michael Jordan, or the next AI. That's all they're concerned about. And they feel that that's the only ticket out the hood. Or the next rapper, they want to be the next 50. They want to be the next Jay-Z. They want to be the next Nas. You know, but a lot of them, 9 times out of 10, don't end up like that. They end up either in jail, they end up dead, or they end up in just a complex situation that they can't find themselves out of. So basically, what I'm trying to bring to the table, 50, is this. I wrote a screenplay 5 years ago called Inner City High, and it pretty much delves into the hip hop culture. It delves into the inner city, all the necessary things that's going on in there that people never want to either talk about or they just don't understand. And I believe that this particular script told probably part of the story of myself when I was growing up in the inner city in D.C. It also tells a story about pretty much all the other young people growing up in the inner city and how they all the necessary things that they have to do to come up, you know. And most of it obviously is negative stuff. You know, they got to rob, they got to steal, they got to sell dope, they got to do whatever they have to do to maintain themselves. And I think a lot of that hasn't been brought out to the mainstream. You know, and some of it that has been brought out is mostly stereotype stuff that people feed into because they believe that this is what the inner city is about, this is what black people are about, this is all they know. But like I said, I know being from the inner city, being coming up from the place where you came up, you understand the culture, you understand the city, you understand the youth, And that's why the screenplay that I wrote entitled Inner City High gives pretty much an in-depth look as far as, like I said, the culture, the persona, pretty much everything in the environment of these inner city youths, every day-to-day activity that they go through. And at the same time, it also gives us an out. It gives us a some kind of, I guess I would say, hope, or some kind of positive outlook on it, because it tells the truth. It tells the truth about what's going on in the inner city. It tells the truth about, you know, what our options are. It tells the truth about so many different things. But I believe this is what one of the main movies that's an original, is genuine. It's not watered down like a lot of the Hollywood movies that they have out there that they're making now. And you know this better than me, 50. You know, because you're out there. You're out there more than I am. I'm basically a nobody. You know, but I know I do keep my ears open, and I do keep my ears open and my eyes, and I observe everything around me. And basically, what I've been observing so far is pretty much a lot of garbage. Like I said, you got a lot of pencil pushers and paper pushers in Hollywood that don't understand, you know, the inner city. They don't understand what's going on. They don't even understand Hollywood, you know, because the majority of the movies that they come out with now is pretty much renditions of the same old stuff. But what I'm trying to pitch to you, 50, well, I'm not even trying to pitch this. I'm just keeping it real, trying to be real with you, is that this particular movie, this particular screenplay that I wrote is in depth, it's exciting, it tells the truth, it's tragic, it's triumph, it's full of triumph, it's full of so many different things that we go through on a day-to-day basis. But to make a long story short, it's real. And I think this is something that you definitely need to check out and see for yourself exactly what I'm talking about. I can sit here and talk to you all day about how good it is and how great it is, but obviously if you don't have the material in your hand, it's hard for you to make that decision on your own. But I believe that I'm someone that I can definitely bring good things to the table. You know, like I said, I give all props to your production company and all the necessary things that it's doing to put good movies out there and to put good work out there, because I know your work ethics and you work. You know, you just don't sit back, you get a record deal, you get one contract, you make a couple $1 million and you sit back. You're about the paper, you're also about the work ethics. And that's what I'm about. I'm about work ethics, I'm about, you know, making money, I'm about, you know, progressing, I'm about doing a lot of different things. So get at me, 50, let me know what's up. FEYI02 at AOL.com. You know.